What's going on, guys? Burgz here from the Casual Athlete, and Origin is just around the corner. And I analysed the Blues side the other day and made a couple of changes that I thought they could make to make the squad even better. And although Billy Slater has hardly put a foot wrong in the last 2 years, I'm going to take a look at the Queensland squad and see if I can improve them. Just before I pick this Queensland team apart, a reminder to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. We bring out so much content each and every week. We just hit 10,000 subscribers here on the channel, a big milestone for us and something that we never thought was possible when we first started. But make sure that you hit that subscribe button and make sure that you hit the notification bell to make sure that you don't miss out on any of our latest content. Now, let's have a look at this Queensland squad. At the back, we have Reece Walsh, and I do think that was the only decision that Queensland had to make. Alexander Brimson went down with an injury, and Ponga is also out. And Ponga was probably the closest contender there, but with him out, it leaves Reece Walsh there to basically claim that number one spot. And he has been troubled by a knee injury in the last couple of weeks. Hopefully, he can be ripe and ready for this game. On the wing, we have Xavier Coates, and this guy has been in stellar form this year, and I am scared as a Blues fan to watch this guy in action on Wednesday night. I just think that he's almost been winning games for Melbourne by himself this year. A couple of results could have gone the other way for Melbourne this year if he wasn't on the field. And yes, he's had a couple of injuries to start the year, but no doubt he will turn up for Queensland in this one. Val Holmes gets the spot along with Tabuai Fido in the centres, and they were the centres from last year, and they absolutely killed it, man. Like, they are just two of the most raw, talented individuals in this Queensland squad. I can't say enough about Valentine Holmes. He has been a little off this year in terms of his clutch gene not really showing through, but man, he takes some tough carries, even at Clubland, and I only expect that to increase when he gets into that Queensland jersey and the adrenaline starts pumping through his veins. And Murray Taulagi got the other winger spot. Now, not a decision that I would have gone with, to tell you the truth. I think Murray has spent quite a bit of time over recent weeks in the rehab centre and is just working his way back into the side. Only had one game to really prove his fitness and prove that he could step into that 5 jersey for Queensland, and has a bit of the Dane Gagai effect about him. Sometimes he gets into that Queensland jersey and plays absolutely out of his skin. So, while I don't think Murray Taulagi will disappoint, I do think that there was a guy who's actually been listed on the bench who probably deserved that wing spot over Murray Taulagi. The halves, Dearden and DCE. Now, this is the opportunity for New South Wales, and they need to pounce on this one. Although Tom Dearden has played for Queensland before, he's not been in great form leading up to this fixture. I think at the start of the season, I have the guy in Supercoach. Don't get me wrong. I love Tom Dearden each and every week, but most of the attack has been down Townsend's side of the field, and you can see with Chad being second in the try assists this year that they've kind of shifted away from Tom Dearden and gone more to that Chad Townsend Nanai side of the field. I do think that he will perform in this jersey, though. However, he is all heart, all desire, and that is quintessential Queensland spirit, and you just can't deny the kid of something that he wants. When he goes after something, he usually gets it. And this position was a little bit contentious for me. There's a couple of guys who I thought were knocking on the door in and around the squad. Ezra was obviously being talked about, Ezra Mam. And then I also thought that Sam Walker was in with a shout for this spot. He's been playing phenomenal football over the last 5 weeks since he came back into the Roosters side. And, you just got to credit where credit is due and give these guys a bit of a shout out. And I think Sam Walker personally had the edge over Ezra. I just don't see, because Ezra's a pure 6, he kind of needs that game managing 7, which he would have got in this game in DCE, mind you. But for me, if you're going to pick a half to cover, it wouldn't have been Ezra Mam, it would have been Sam Walker, because he can play 6 and 7. So just because of the form guide, I would have had to go with Sam Walker on that one. And the front row doesn't really change too much for Queensland, and geez, you can argue that Lindsay Collins is kind of being outshone by the other players in the front row at his club. I think Terrell Mays had a very big start to the season, and then all of the off-field issues with Spencer Leniu being how hyper-aggressive he is and the hype around him as well. But Lindsay Collins is just that guy, man. He is stable down the middle. He will get you 100 metres a game. He will get you those 15 hit-ups. just does his job, man. And that's, again, another quintessential part of being a Queensland player. He just goes out there and does his job. Last year, he was borderline man of the series. I think he was the Wally Lewis medal winner from memory. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but he was outstanding last year, jumping over the top of Tedesco to score tries. Man, he was unstoppable. Lindsay Collins. I wouldn't believe it if I didn't see it last year, but man, he was outstanding and deserves his spot again. Ruben Cotter, probably expected to play big minutes in this fixture. He doesn't play, I guess, that 80-minute performance for the Cowboys each and every week. Peyton seems to take those minutes away from him, which is, I guess, a gripe of mine as a Cowboys fan. I would love to see him out on the field a lot more than he currently is, but he played 80 minutes on debut for Queensland and didn't look out of place at all. And it's just a phenomenal character to have in your team. Goes at 100 miles an hour, won't let you down. Again, another guy that we really could use in that New South Wales squad. Guy who's become Superman when they put that Queensland jersey on. And I tell you that there's some of them in this squad, and they probably owe it to their club to play like that. But that's neither here nor there. That's all about the Queensland spirit, if you want to talk a little bit more about that. The second row is where I potentially had another sort of issue here. I do see why they picked Jaden Sewer and Jeremiah Nanai. Sewer's been in great form. I've got nothing against Sewer. Runs the ball really hard. He's been creating chances for the Dragons, and is part of the reason that they have not been a part of the bottom 4, bottom 3 teams in the league conversation. He just re-signed as well for the club. That is a massive signing for the Dragons as well. So to keep him on the books, especially after the couple of injury-riddled seasons that he's had, by all means. He's been in this Queensland side before as well and has not disappointed. The only thing I would say about these two specifically, Sewer plays on the right, and so does Jeremiah Nanai. So I'm very interested to see who goes over the left. I expect it to be Jaden Sewer, just because Nanai is a bit younger and has so much success in scoring tries and creating chances down the right-hand side. He will probably be paired with Daly Cherry Evans, so that could be a bit of a defensive weakness for me, because Nanai, for me, misses quite a lot of tackles. I've seen it at club level. He just isn't exactly always in the best position defensively, and teams go after him. He misses quite a lot of tackles per game, so I expect the Blues to really try and take advantage of that. But the flip side of that is that he is a phenomenal attacking player. With the ball in hand, he's got a right foot step, loves a flick on, is incredible at coming down with the ball in the air. Man, I can't tell you how many tries I've seen him score out of nothing. So if the game is quite close, he can have a moment of brilliance, and that's where I probably would have made the change. I probably would have had him on the bench and put in another guy who I think is still in great form, and I'm not too sure why he's been left out of this side. David Fifita. Let's talk about him. He has been left out of the Queensland side when you'd argue that for the Titans, he is the sole focal point at the moment, especially of that forward pack, leading it through thick and thin right now without their fearsome leader, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, who sadly won't be playing Origin for this year, and the Blues would be cheering about that one. But David, he's still pulling off those magic moments. He breaks tackles at will. He'll get you those 100 meters a game from second row as well. Not a lot of second rowers in the game do that. He has the ability to score tries close to the line. I just don't know whether Billy's tried to go with more of a conservative approach here and just kind of pinned David Fifita back and just said, there's a lot going on with you this year outside of the field. Maybe sort that out, and then we can talk about playing Origin again. But I do think this is a potential misstep on Billy Slater's part, just because he is phenomenal on the field, David Fifita, and you can't take your eyes off him. And Paddy Carrigan, always going to be the lock. They're never a doubt in sight. Now, the bench for me is very interesting for Queensland. I think they've, to an extent, been a little bit scared in this bench selection. Harry Grant was obviously going to be on the bench there, especially if Ben Hunt was going to be the starting 9, and they'll switch in and out depending on the fatigue of the game. Mo Fotuaika has pushed his way into the side. He is running amok at the Titans. I did speak about David Fifita leading this forward pack, but Mo is right there with him. Has stepped up in a massive way this year with Tino being out of the side. He had to. Otherwise, this Titans side they're not exactly in the position they'd probably like to be, but he is showing so much heart out there on the field, and Slater looks for that as well. So you couldn't have left him out of this side. I think if they left him out, I would have blown up about it, because Mo has definitely deserved his spot, as has Jermaine Hopgood. I think that Jermaine has, again, stepped up his level in a struggling Parramatta side. He controls the middle really well. He's a great ball play, can find an offload. Yes, he can make the odd error, but that's just because I've found this year with Parramatta that the Eels are down in games so much. He's trying everything he can to get them back into the game. And for a young guy, I think he's 22, to step up and do that without Gutherson there, without Moses, I just think that he's shouldering a lot of that responsibility, and it comes out on the field each and every week. And again, something that you look for in an Origin arena. He will go at 100 miles an hour once he gets out there, chops blokes in half, gets offloads, and you can't ask for much more than that, and thoroughly deserved his spot in this team. Now, the last one is Selwyn Cobbo, and I think Billy Slater was saying that 4 times out of the last 6 games that he has coached, they've had to replace an outside back. While I get the data on that decision, I do think it's a very scared one. It's not like the Blues are going out there and targeting outside backs. One of them actually was Selwyn Cobbo, that managed to not finish the game a couple of years back, I think. And, you know, I get the carrying an outside back on the bench can be beneficial, especially with a tired defensive line, especially in Origin when, you know, maybe a 55, 60-minute mark, they've been defending for an hour. You put Selwyn Cobbo on and see what he can do, but for me, he's a big, bustling runner of the ball. He's not a nimble kind of guy. I think that those guys are really important, like the Harry Grants of the game, the Damien Cooks of the game, Ryan Pappenhausen really good at it, Scott Drinkwater, the really nimble kind of guys who find those areas of space. With Selwyn Cobbo, you can see him coming. It's about whether you can stop him at that point. I just think that maybe they might do a bit of a switch. I'd probably shift a Hamaso to the middle and put Cobbo back to the centres, where he's been playing most of his time for the Broncos this year. And then the Hammer is so good in the middle, plays fullback at club level, really nimble guy, quick feet. You know, he can really dominate the middle, and he's in some great form as well. So I see that being a bit more of the game plan moving forward. But yeah, I do think with Cobbo on the bench, it's a little bit of a scared move. And if one of their middle forwards goes down, you're expecting guys like Lindsay Collins, Cotter, Carrigan, who doesn't play 80 minutes every week, to play a big game. You're going to be expecting 80 minutes out of one of the 3. But they haven't really covered for it in their reserves either. So Felice Kafusi, plenty of experience. I understand why he was picked for the game. Not a decision I would have made, and I'll tell you guys about that a little bit in a moment. Again, Brennan Piakura also got picked. Over a guy like David Fifita? No. Just a plain no. If you're going to pick a spare second rower, it had to be David Fifita. I also think there's a couple of other guys that deserved a spot in this side, and I'll talk about that in a moment as well, that when I reveal to you my team. And then Ezra Mam, I've already spoken about. As the spare half, he doesn't really play 7, so you're really just covering for that Tom Dearden spot. Not a game manager, really good runner of the football, but he also has that connection with Reece Walsh at club level, and plus they've played a lot of their junior football together, so you would expect that to come out on the field. But with all that being said, guys, I just wanted to show you really quickly the couple of changes that I would have made. So with my changes, I would have had Selwyn Cobbo in my starting side. I just think that Murray Taulagi has had a number of troubles with injuries this year. He can't really stay fit at the moment. He's not really been performing as well in the games, like to the quality that you expect of Murray Taulagi. They kind of ventured away from his side of the field. Him, Holmes, and Dearden have kind of been left out in the cold, while Chad, Nanai, and Felt are having a good year down the right side of the field. It's just one of those things where Cobbo's moved into the new centre position and done really well. He's played at fullback a couple of times this year while Reece was out and done really well. He's played wing for a number of years and exceeded as well. I just think that he needs another shot back in this starting side, and this year was his year, despite the Broncos being a little bit injury prone this year and missing a few guys. Cobbo is the guy who's been in there most weeks. I think he's missed 1 or 2 games this year, stepping up in a big way. So I think he deserved the starting spot there. And the other change I would have made is David Fifita needed to start in this game. He plays on the left side of the field, so you're avoiding that conflict with Jaden Sewer and Nanai both being, I guess you'd say, specialist right second rowers. I know people say that the defensive positions don't make a lot of difference, but when you do it for roughly 10 weeks in a row and then you get shoved into a new spot, understand that fullbacks do it a lot in Origin, and we've got a few this year, and it's a little bit different attacking wise. Your shapes look a little bit different. What you're seeing coming at you looks a little bit different. It is a mental thing. So for David Fifita, for him just to slot straight into that left-sided second row spot, bang, you get an instant tackle breaker. You get 100 meters a game. You get a couple of offloads. You get chances to score points, and that's something that David Fifita brings in bucket loads. So I just think that he had to start this game. I would have had Nanai on the bench, because Nanai also covers that potential centre spot that you're looking for. So the outside back spot, I would have gone with a Nanai who has played a little bit of centre at his junior levels of the game. And as far as for me, the bench was largely unchanged. I would have had all the other 3 guys still in there, but no Cobbo. I would have left Taulagi out of the squad altogether, not because I want him available for Cowboys selection, but I just didn't think he did enough this year, and I think he's getting picked on the form that he displayed 12 months ago. For the reserves, I would have had Sam Walker, and I'll tell you why. I think that Sam, not only has he been one of the form halves over the last month or so, but he is so clearly the next halfback for Queensland. I think DCE's only got a couple of years left. You need him in and around the squad to get used to the guys, get used to the way they're trained, because there's going to be a contention for that 5'8" spot for years to come. We've got Dearden, who's really young. We have Ezra, who's really young. For Sam Walker, he is going to be shouldering the responsibility of that halfback position, and unless someone comes out of the blue and takes it from him, I don't see it happening very much. So I think that Sam needed to be in this team. He's been playing well enough to be selected as well. Not saying that Ezra's not playing well enough. It's just I think Sam also, as I said before, covers both positions, and you can't really ignore that at this point in time. I thought Trent Liero deserved a spot in this side as well. He did enough for me at the Storm at the start of the year. He was playing 13, playing really well. Another guy who just does his job. And I thought Queensland would jump all over that. Like, he's a guy who doesn't have any flashiness in his game, just comes in, does exactly what you need him to do each and every week. And that, to me, is Queensland through and through. So I would have had him 100% in my squad. And the other guy who I think has been having an underrated season at this point is Beau Fermor. He's also been ignored in favour of guys like Brendan Piakura. And I think Piakura, while he is one of the youngest guys in the squad, he necessarily hasn't been playing the best football this year. I'm not seeing enough out of Brendan Piakura each and every week. He gets subbed quite a fair bit. Fermor has had to play in the centres when a number of players have gone down for the Titans in some big games. He is making some great runs as well. Makes his tackles each and every week. Like, again, another guy who is just Queensland attitude through and through. And yes, he's come off an ACL injury, and so what? Like, the first 12 weeks of the year, he's been outstanding. I think in games where he's almost been the best player on the park for the Titans, and not a lot of people are talking about it. I think he's actually been snubbed out of this. I would have had Beau Fermor pegged in there for the life of me, but What do you do, eh? This is my team, and I decide who's going to be in it. Billy, I think you should listen to me a little bit more. So that is it, guys. Let me know what you think about my Queensland team down in the comments section below. Please make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. We bring out so much content each and every week, and I'll catch you on the next one.